Hey guys, how's it going? It is absolutely beautiful out here this morning. It's lightly sprinkling. We got a whole bunch of rain last night, and even though this is not where we're going to be working today, I just wanted to start here to show you how pretty everything looks. Rain just makes everything look lush. We're going to be focusing though on pollinator attracting annuals today. We're going to be planting up a couple of big beds with them. Look at how gorgeous, you guys. Something that I just really like in this space are the lemony lace elderberries. Aren't they pretty with that kind of soft layered look? Our annuals haven't done a whole lot down here. They're just adjusting to their new spot, but once those fill in, we'll have a bunch of pink and purple in here, which will kind of bring some weight to the bed. But we've got a beautiful rose back in here. Let me get close. Look at that. This one was here when we moved in, and I just love it. It's just so pretty. And the incredible hydrangea hedge here, oh my word, is this going to be the most beautiful thing ever. It already is. And the blooms are just in bud form right now. Also the lemon zest roses, which I had meant to transplant, and I cut them back really hard. They're looking really nice right now as well. Everything just looks so clean. You know, with the excavation of the property behind the barn and all the wind we've had, which it's supposed to be really windy this afternoon, it just makes everything so dirty. You know, it just leaves like a fine layer of powder dust on leaves. So when we get a rain after projects like this or during projects like this, it just makes everything look alive again. And there's the west side, looking glorious. Also, we have a gator full of gorgeous stuff. Like I didn't even have room to put my coffee in a cup holder because I used every last space for plants, which is the way it should always be, right? Oh, so pretty. Okay, so here at the end of the west side, you know, we kind of have this little barrier of plants, which I had planted here back when we used to have a fence that came from the corner there and it cut right across, and we didn't own this property at that time. So I wanted to have a visual block at the end of the west side walkway, but it creates a nice backdrop right here. I am just noticing we had a Play in the Blue salvia return. That came back from last year, what? Even more amazing that I'm gonna go in with more of these, so now that saves me one spot. The rest of this spot, we put a black lace elderberry in here, and you guys know, I mean, that will get absolutely massive and fill in this space. You won't see any of the stuff behind it at all in the end. I mean, I even toyed with the idea of putting in a freestanding trellis right here to block the pedestal, but it's just really unnecessary when this thing will grow and fill in really quickly. We also have some black-eyed Susans in here, hollyhocks, a green arrow, weeping cedar, which only gets like 3 to 4 feet wide. There's some little lilacs. I think they're called Tiny Dancer, but this is about max size for those. But then we just have this nice area that's a full sun spot. So last year we put in Play in the Blue salvia. There was some Angelonia. We did Supertunia Vista Jazzberry. That was kind of our big color in this space. There were a few other things we popped in here and there. Diamond Frost Euphorbia, which actually held its own with the Jazzberry, which I was very surprised by. But it was a gorgeous space. It really did well. This year I wanted to focus on some pollinator attracting plants because we've so enjoyed, the kids and I, watching for bumblebees, and swallowtails are huge right now. We have them everywhere. So I thought it'd be fun just to have a spot where they just, I don't know, really be attracted to. And I'm going to focus on the same thing behind the chicken coop is where we're going to go next. But we're just going to pack this space out. And to do that, I've got this Gara right here. This is a Stratosphere Pink Picotee, and I think it's so pretty. I've got one back here. The reason I picked this one is because it really goes well with the Superbena, which this is the Sparkling Rose variety right here. Isn't that gorgeous? And then a whole bunch of Play in the Blue salvia, which will kind of be our backdrop. These get 2 to 4 feet tall and wide, and in a sunny spot like this, they will definitely reach their full potential. And these get about 1 to 2 feet tall, about a foot wide. So this is a little bit more of a petite plant. Then we have kind of our ground cover sort of thing, but these do provide a little bit of height too. And then I've got this Blushing Princess Lobularia. I might swap that out for Violet Night depending on how it goes here. I may not even use it, but I brought it out because it's kind of this nice little delicate sparkly color and texture versus the rest of everything that we've got going on. And then of course the Sweet Caroline, Sweetheart line, which is not a pollinator attracting plant, but look at how pretty when you put this in here. It's just kind of a grounding plant. It's something to bring weight and peace to an area so it's not like a huge jumble of just blooms. So what I like to do first is get everything laid out, and then I'll go through. I've got my 3-inch Laura Edition auger, which makes digging really fast. And then we'll dig all the holes, put some biotin starter fertilizer in the holes, plant it, and then we'll be done with this spot. Got it all laid out and I already love it. Even unplanted, I love it. I think it's just gonna be so soft and delicate looking. I think we've got a really good mixture of color and texture. I did grab some purple fountain grass, which I hadn't thought about before, but I think that will add some depth of color. It'll also add a different texture and some vertical interest toward the back. So there's grouping of 3 there, grouping of 3, another grouping of 3. And then if we come around this side of the lilacs, there's a grouping of 1. There's just 1 right there. And Benjamin ran back to the high tunnel to get me 1 more to put right here. And then we've got the next layer is the plain the blue salvia, which I just have dotted throughout the whole area. And then we have kind of a nice undulating drift of the Gara, which adds that magical vibe. I don't know, it's just got such gorgeous movement and such a kind of ethereal look. And then we've got some swoops of sweet potato vine, which I put those behind the Superbena because I've made this mistake more than once. It always grows taller than I think it's going to. It really mounds up. So I think that'll be a beautiful layer below the Gara and then the Superbena sparkling rose. It's already full and I love it. And there's Benjamin, bless him. He just came through the fence with another grass. Good job, bud. He's looking both ways before he crosses the lane. Uh-oh, he had a roly-poly friend that he named Ben. Did you find him? He just kind of flew off, didn't he? Right here, there he is.
Ah, cheeky little roly-poly.
Oop, that's a big one.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Ben the roly-poly.
I love it. Thanks for getting me the grass, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, now we plant. all done and planted. I cannot wait to see what this looks like more filled in. Starting here with the Superbena, we just have a beautiful mix of things. I'm just so thrilled. Now the plain the blue salvia looks smaller than the Gara currently, but it won't for a while. In fact, that's kind of what we have going on with the lilacs versus the elderberry back there. It doesn't look scaled right at all, but it will, because this black lace elderberry will get huge. We'll have that big tall evergreen there, so it'll look like the proper stair step down. But that's kind of what you get, even in annual planting for a little while, until things have a chance to grow. But we've got close to 100-degree days coming in the next week, so we'll see a huge boom in growth here. Now, one area that I had to do just a tiny bit different was this right here. I couldn't do my grouping of 3 grasses. I had to move a grass back here because I forgot there's a massive lid right here. So I had to steer clear of that. And it sort of worked out perfectly because I had enough Gara to make an impact right here. And then this lilac comes out enough to where it almost creates a separate room on this side. So I did not use any Gara over here, but I did use the other plants. I also didn't use the sweet potato vine because it's got texture very similar to this one right here, and I thought that would be too much. But this whole space, you guys, is just gonna be gorgeous, and I cannot wait to see the pollinators in this area. Okay, this space is done, so let's head to the chicken coop next.
Find some bad guys.
You're gonna go find some bad guys? Where? You've been playing with Benjamin a lot, huh?
I'll go fight bad guys over there.
Okay, you do it. So here we are behind the chicken coop. This space is much more cozy than the last space we were at. We've got I think this is an Emperor 1 Japanese maple. It might be Bloodgood, I can't remember exactly. This is the east side of the chicken coop, so it does get a good block of morning sun. It's not until sort of late in the evening where it gets shaded. So I have put coleus in here with really good luck before as well. Is Russell getting a drink? We've got the pineapple fountain in here. Hey, bud. And we've got an October Glory maple that we planted, maybe like 2 or 3 seasons ago. You might even remember the huge elm tree that we had right here that lost, like big trunks were falling down. So anyway, that's what was right here. So it's kind of hard to plant right in this area. I'm actually surprised that I was able to get this Japanese maple in. What are you doing?
I'm trying to find bad guys.
Okay, we've got some foxglove that I started from seed last year. Kind of fun to see that in here. This is a Dalmatian apricot, and then there's a sugar plum, boom chocolate geraniums, which always get powdery mildew, and we do not deal with powdery mildew here. Not much anyway, but this one for some reason always gets it. But it's flowering right now. As soon as it's done flowering, we'll shear it down and let it come back fresh, and usually the second flush doesn't get it quite as bad. I don't know why. Maybe it's the wet spring weather. That's probably it. We also have a pink lemonade baptisia in here. Look at this. Looking beautiful. And there's some hibiscus that come up in here and bloom bright pink later on in the season. So our goal is just to fill up this area right here with pollinator loving plants, which I have right here. Now I am sticking with purples primarily and white, because right next to the chicken coop we've got the parterre garden where I've got the bullseye salmon geraniums going, and they are bright and they are a very warm pink. So I don't want to do anything really in the pink family unless it matched the tone of this pink right here, otherwise it would clash too much. And I thought about doing yellow or maybe even the lemon coral, but I don't really like that mix either. It needs to be something a little bit more versatile, and purple just brings it every time. Purple is always one that I lean on. So we're going to do a mix of the plain the blue salvia again as our backdrop, and then we'll fill in with this is the marshmallow bidens. I actually grew these back here last year and they did so phenomenally well. I want to repeat it. And the honeybees adored this plant. Then we have the Superbena sparkling amethyst, which of all the Superbenas, this is probably my most favorite. And then we have the violet night lobularia. Isn't that a beautiful, peaceful mix? And it looks really good with that coral color right there. And the other beautiful thing about this blend and the blend we put over by that parking area is none of these have to be sprayed with BT for budworm. No supertunias in the mix. Superbena just does its thing. It doesn't even require a ton of fertilizer. We do keep them on a weekly fertilizer schedule, but I think you could do even less on these and they would be totally fine with that. So anyway, same deal right here. I'm going to lay it out and then we will dig our holes and get everything planted. it is all laid out. I think it's gonna be beautiful. Russell is playing with his tail right now. Russell, what are you doing? He just knocked over that coleus. That's one plant that I went and grabbed that I didn't have initially. Decided to tuck a few of those back in the background because it tends to be a little bit shadier back there, and that just pops in a shady spot. And it, again, kind of like the sweet potato vine in the first bed, it'll provide that cooling, sort of peaceful leaf accent in this area. And then we've got Play in the Blue salvia throughout, and then little groupings of the Biden's marshmallow right there, which is something that I didn't do last year. Last year I planted it in one great big swoop and it was gorgeous, but I think it'll be pretty to have it in little bunches. And then I did line the flower bed on this side. I think that's going to be so pretty, and it will connect us to the front of the chicken coop area. The pot's looking really good. Look at that. And I love that we're utilizing some of the same colors here, so it really ties together beautifully. And then we've got groupings of the sparkling amethyst. There's 3 groupings of 3, and then I tucked in the violet night alyssum around the rest of it. Russell, what are you doing? And I've already noticed honeybees visiting the Bidens and the alyssum in particular. The butterflies love the superbena. Okay, let's get them planted. Oh my goodness, you guys, I love how this area turned out. It blends beautifully with the parterre garden, so you've got that vibrant punch of coral pink and then the soothing mix of purples and white. Oh, and the lime-time coleus in the back looks perfect, being kind of just a little bright accent in the back. The lemon coral sedum that I brought out, the more sun it gets, the more yellow it tends to be rather than the chartreuse, in my experience anyway. And it looks really pretty in other areas when you've got colors that are complementary, but I didn't know if I would like that yellow chartreuse with the coral. So close, I don't know, maybe it would have been fine. Probably would have been. But tucking that color toward the back I think is perfect because we'll have this huge drift of color up front. And I love the way the marshmallow Bidens look along this flower bed right here, just very simple. And the breeze is just barely starting to pick up. In fact, I tried to get out early enough. We were supposed to get pretty stiff wind at about 1, and we're getting close-ish to 1. Nice little protected spot back here. Let's take a look from the other angle here. Now, I didn't plant anything in this section. I just stopped because I might be coming in on either side of the benches to do something. I wanted to leave it open in case I decide on something. Oh, it's just so pretty. I wish the foxglove would stay in bloom all season long. That would just top the whole thing off. Isn't this a beautiful view though? Look at that. Oh my gosh. So here's kind of a before shot. Beginning of June, we'll have to do an after shot here in a few months just to show you the intense amount of growth this area will put on. So now we need to decide what to plant in the pots on either side of the benches out here. Almost thinking something evergreen so that it's just a peaceful sort of structural plant rather than more color. There's a robin. It just went up to the serviceberry, but it's been hanging out on the bench because its nest is inside this tree. I don't want to stress it out too much, so I'm not going to get really close. But you can kind of see it in there, I think. Of all the trees in all the land, it chooses this tiny little lollipop to make its nest. Kind of sweet. We've also got a few pots on either side of the benches over here to plant as well. I did have the saguaro cypress. Every single one of them that I planted, both in ground and in pots, died over the course of the winter. So that was the first time for trying that. So I might try it one more time, maybe just one, in a very controlled environment to see if we can get it to winter over. And then I had, boy, it's a new shrub coming out. It's a broadleaf evergreen, and they did not thrive in the containers as well. But the Alberta spruce did great. See that? Looks great. And my spruce trees, my Norway spruce trees in the pots in the corners look awesome, and I'm not going to move them out. I decided to leave them because they're amazing structure on the corners. We'll get another winter out of them. We can put Christmas lights on them again without having to pot them up again next winter. I just think that's a really pretty look. I'm not even sure that I'm going to tuck in annuals. I think I just might let them do their thing. And then the spectacular artichokes. I need to figure out what I want to do here. These get full, on a sunny day, full sun all day long because they're on the south side of the Hartley, and they're black iron, and they're going to get the reflective heat off of the building. So I've got to figure out something that would really like it. Maybe lantana. Lantana would probably be an excellent choice for here, and they're also a pollinator attractor. Kind of fun. Okay, a couple more things, you guys. I just wanted to show you the carding mill roses right here beneath the angel statue. Look at how beautiful they are. They don't make for the most amazing cut flowers. Sometimes you can get a stem that's strong, but most of the time I have found that these have really heavy roses. I mean, the roses are just multi-petaled and heavy just all on their own, but it seems like they want to drape a little bit, like they want, the stem can't quite hold up the faces of the rose. So they're really good to like prop in an arrangement if you've got other things to prop them on, or let them kind of dangle over the side, but it's not one that really holds its strength. See, a lot of times I find this right here, which they're gorgeous, but you got to find just less blooms per stem, and this would be a great one right here. It's a pretty view though. And I've pretty much decided to bring the grass all the way over to the other side of the walkway, just to bring some harmony to this space and to draw this area on this side over to this side in terms of like connecting it. So it doesn't feel like there's this giant flower bed and then like a skinny one over here. It just doesn't work, I don't think, that well. So I'm going to bring a little bit of the grass over. We'll take more of the grass from in front of the willow, so it'll be a little bit more even on both sides, but I think it's going to work out. And our Julia Child rose trees are enormous. In fact, Paul came out and he staked them from 3 different sides this morning because of all the rain we got last night. I mean, the canopies are super heavy, like wet, and then knowing that we had a big windstorm coming our way, we thought, ooh, that's not a good mix. We need to get these strengthened up with something. But I'm really thrilled with how they've done. I think they've even got a couple blooms on them. Yep, just getting started. Such a gorgeous rose. And you guys, that's it. Little mini tour around the Hartley, but I'm really happy with the planting areas we got done today, kind of focusing in on those pollinator friendly annuals. I think they're going to both be beautiful spots. I'm really looking forward to seeing them later on. So now I just need to water these in and run around, make sure everything else is looking good before the windstorm hits. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a great day, and we will see you in the next video.